I'm 82 years old, and yesterday afternoon I sold my dining table. Yeah, that table, the one I've had for over 40 years. Nothing dramatic happened. I didn't fall. I didn't forget anything. I just sold it. My son noticed right away. We were on a video call later that day. He looked past me into the dining room, then back at me. He didn't say anything, but I could see it. That look, like something wasn't quite right, like maybe I shouldn't have done that. He didn't say it, but you can tell when your children start looking at you differently. My name is Helen, and this isn't really about a table. I mean, it looks like it is, but it isn't. It took me a long time to understand what this was really about. Longer than I'd like to admit. We bought that table more than 30 years ago. Back then, it was a big decision. 3 months of salary. We actually walked away the first time, came back a week later, and bought it anyway. It was big, heavy, solid mahogany. Seats 8, and for a long time, it was never empty. Holidays were crowded. Too many people every time. We'd pull in extra chairs. Someone always squeezed into a corner. Kids arguing. Adults talking over each other. Dishes everywhere. Noise everywhere. It was messy, but it felt full. Even after my husband passed, I kept everything the same. The table stayed exactly where it was. I took care of it, polished it, covered it. I never really said this out loud, but I think I believed that as long as the table stayed, something about our family would stay too. But that's not how things work. Over the last few years, that table changed. Or maybe I did. Most days, it was just me. Same chair, same spot, one plate. Sometimes I didn't even sit properly, just on the edge. In the evenings, sunlight would stretch across the table, and the whole house would go quiet. Too quiet. You start noticing things. The clock, the refrigerator, your own breathing, and that table. It stopped feeling comforting. It just reminded me of what used to be there. I used to think everything I did for my family would come back to me somehow, not in a calculated way, just naturally. I didn't travel much. I didn't build much of a life outside the house. I helped my son when he bought his home, helped my daughter raise her child. It felt right at the time. Of course it did. But somewhere along the way, I started expecting something in return. Not money, not anything big, just time, presence. But life doesn't move like that anymore. My children aren't unkind. They're not. They're just busy. In a way, I don't think we used to be. Everything in their world moves fast. Work, messages, schedules. It never stops. And Meave, I don't really fit into that pace. Every Sunday, my daughter calls. 3 p.m., almost exactly. Hi, Mom, how are you? I'm fine. Good. I've got to take Jack to soccer. I'll call you next week. And that's it. On holidays, they come over. They bring food, gifts. They sit down. But they're not really there. Their eyes stay on their phones, answering messages, scrolling. The grandchildren, they're in their own world, headphones on, and I stay in the kitchen longer than I need to, cooking, trying to make it feel like it used to. When the food comes out, they smile. Looks great. Tastes good, and I nod. Likey, that's enough. At some point, I noticed something strange. I started being careful in my own house. Even small things, like coughing, I would try to make it quieter. It sounds strange now. I know. But at the time, it felt necessary. When they leave, it's quick. Okay, Mom, we'll come again soon. The door closes. The car pulls away, and the house goes back to what it was before, but not quite, because now you remember what it feels like to not really exist, even when you're not alone. I tried to fix that. I thought maybe it was the distance. So I stayed at my son's house for a month. I thought, if I'm around Morg, maybe it'll feel normal again. But it didn't. Their home had its own rhythm. Everything had a system. Buttons, devices, settings. I couldn't keep up. One day, I pressed the wrong thing on the oven. set off an alarm loud enough to wake everyone. After that, I became very careful, too careful. In the mornings, I stayed in my room until everyone left, just so I wouldn't be in the way. And I said, sorry, a lot. More than I realized. Sorry, I'm slowed. Sorry, I forgot. Sorry. It becomes automatic. I didn't sleep well that entire month, not once. And somewhere in the middle of it, I started to understand. Trying to fit into your children's life after it's already built doesn't bring you closer. It just changes how you see yourself. The moment it really became clear wasn't anything big. Just a Saturday. They were supposed to come for dinner. I started early, cleaning, preparing. I wanted everything to be right. In the afternoon, I thought, I'll wipe the table one more time. I leaned forward a little too far. And then, pain, sharp, in my back. I lost my balance, and I fell. I couldn't move. My phone was nearby. I could see it, just couldn't reach it. Or so I stayed there. Time feels different when you're on the floor. At some point, the phone rang. I couldn't get to it. Later, I heard the message. My son. They couldn't come. Something came up. Work. And the house went quiet again. I stayed there for a long time, not really thinking clearly. Just fragments. But one thing was very clear. If I had died right there, no one would have known. Not that day. Maybe not even the next. And strangely, that didn't scare me. It just settled in. The next morning, I called someone to take the table. No big decision, no speech. I just did it. When they carried it out, I stood there watching. For a moment, it felt like something was missing. And then it didn't. The room felt lighter, and I realized I had been holding onto something that wasn't holding me anymore. Now, my house is different, quieter, simpler. I have a small table now, round, 2 chairs by the window. I sit there in the morning, drink my tea. Sometimes I just sit. And lately, that feels like more than enough. I started going out more. There's a small cafe on the corner. The sign's a little crooked. The first time I went in, I almost left. I didn't understand the menu, but I stayed, asked a question. Now they know my name. Morning, Helen. It's a small thing, but it feels real. I joined a reading group, 6 of us. Same corner every week. One of them walks with me. We have a simple agreement. If one of us doesn't show up, the other checks. That's it. I used to think at this age you only had 2 choices: hold on to your children or be alone. But that's not really true. Letting go isn't losing everything. Sometimes it just means you stop waiting, and when you stop waiting, you start noticing what's still there. I'm still here, and for now, that's enough.